What's going on, everybody? Hey, my name is Andy, and welcome to the 8th episode of that one interesting podcast. As usual, before we get started, here's a couple ways to get in contact with us. Our first option is our email, which is that oneinterestingpodcast@gmail.com. Our email is that oneinterestingpodcast@gmail.com. The second option is our blogging site, which is that oneinterestingpodcast.blogspot.com. Our blogging site is that oneinterestingpodcast.blogspot.com. You can use our blogging site to leave any comments on topics that you would like to hear talk on the podcast. And don't be afraid to leave any type of criticism in a way to improve the podcast for our listeners. But like I say, welcome to the 8th episode of that one interesting podcast. And today's episode title is A Positive Mindset for an Easier Life. And we have a very, very special guest with us, and I'm going to let him introduce himself.
What's going on, people? My name is Trey Smith, and I am a online fitness coach, nutrition coach, registered dietitian. I'm also in the Air Force, and there was a time when I was a full-time Air Force sergeant working every day, and I just decided to change my life. And I quit the Air Force full-time and decided to pursue my vision of being a registered dietitian. So that's what I'm doing now. And, it's been a road, but staying positive.
You was a surgeon.
Yeah, I still am. I'm a sergeant.
Okay.
I'm just not full time anymore. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool.
I gave it up, man. It was a big decision, but
So now what do you do basically?
So right now I'm full time coaching. Competitors or really anybody who wants to get themselves in shape, and I specialize in nutrition.
But right now we're currently located in Lakeland, Florida, and we're at what's the place called?
It's called Catapult.
The coolest
Catapult
place ever.
Lakeland. It's pretty dope, man.
It's a
dope
pretty
spot.
nice place.
Yeah, it's dope.
So we're just gonna go right into the subject. Today's subject is a positive mindset for an easier life. So my first question would be how can someone change their mindset from negative to positive?
I can only speak on my experiences doing the same thing, and like I just mentioned before, I've been in the Air Force for almost 15 years now, and I joined when I was 17. And it was one of those things where, working in the Air Force and being deployed, going to Iraq, going to Afghanistan, I've been deployed a total of 7 times to Iraq, Afghanistan, Kuwait. It was one of those things where I got married, and it was taking a toll on my relationship, and I decided to. It was a change that I had to make, a mindset change as far as being in this situation where I'm doing a job that I did not like to do, and finding a way, an avenue to say, you know what, I'm going to, because Air Force, they pay good, man. They pay good. It's a good life as far as financially, but I felt like pursuing this vision of me becoming an authority in the nutrition field as a registered dietitian, which required a lot of schooling. I felt like, that was something that I loved to do, and I felt like it was a strong enough passion for me to leave that position in the Air Force. So, it started with me having to. It actually started with watching videos, man. Watching videos on YouTube, really, insulating myself with positive thinking. You got my man Gary Vayner. You ever heard of Gary Vaynerchuk? He's
an
entrepreneur cat.
Yeah.
He doesn't like to refer to himself as a motivational speaker, but the concept that he pushes to believe in yourself. That's it goes a long way. My man Eric the hip hop preacher. You ever heard of this dude?
Yeah,
E.T. Eric Thomas. He was another one that I really relied on in those times. Eric Thomas, my man. What's his name? I just went to his conference. what's his name?
He's
Tall, dark skinned cat. He's an older dude.
motivational speaker.
Motivational speaker. Man, I can't place his name right now, but
I know who you talking about.
man,
I think Eric Thomas mentioned him a couple of times.
always mentions this dude, man.
I think he was his mentor or something.
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name, man?
I know you
No,
talking about.
I'm gonna look him up. Anyways, him too. You know, he just putting myself in that positive mindset, and it's something you have to actively do it. You can't. I mean, just by listening to different people in your life, or listening to podcasts or motivated speakers, that's not going to do it. It's a start. It's a spark.
Yeah.
But you have to actively, tell yourself that, you know what, I hate what I'm doing right now. And I did. I didn't like it. I didn't like being in the Air Force. The job that I did, it was a high deployable, very demanding job. I was always gone. It was putting stress on my relationship. Actually, it put so much stress on me that I actually had, I broke up with my now, we're married now, but at the time we broke up just because of the strain.
stress.
Yeah, the strain and the stress.
So you say you lasted 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, how did you last that long?
Well, I mean, like I said, it's a good life, man. You travel a lot. It's a lot of traveling. It's a lot of, meeting new people. It's a lot of upside. I'm not going to sit here and, the Air Force has been great to me.
Yeah.
The military has been a great avenue for me. It's opened up a lot of doors. It's given me the means to go to school. It's given me, financial freedom. It's done a lot.
Yeah, I know too. Networking.
You
made great friends.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Like when I went to a boot camp for the Navy, I still have friends right now that live in L.A., New York, Texas, Chicago,
everywhere, man.
Michigan.
Yeah.
They're all over the place. Like, I still talk to them. They're on Facebook. Anytime I text them and say, "What's up? Yeah, what's up, man? How's it going?"
I'm telling you, man, it's a lot. It's a lot of good there, but it was just for me personally. I just got to the point I had to make a choice. Here was a choice. It was, I was a tech sergeant, and the career field I was in, they were looking for me to progress. They wanted to put me in the top position in this office, this career that I worked. And so, it was like I had to make a choice. It was either, okay, I can stay here, I can take this position, and I can stay here for the rest of my career until I'm like in my 40s, retire here and just do this forever. Or I can change everything. Move to Florida, go to this school. I don't really know how I'm going to do all this, but I'm going to figure out a way. I can either figure out a way to make it happen, to get back with my girl, and or I can just stay here and just making good money and having a lot of respect. I can just stay here and just do this and really not be happy doing this. And in the end, I decided to change everything, and it was like I said, it was a huge decision, and it just. The question was, what do you do to get yourself in a positive mindset? It's you have to actively put yourself there, and it requires not only just listening to other people and listening to things, but you have to positive self-talk. You have to tell yourself things. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it happen. Write it down. Read it out loud to yourself. You have to actively do it. You got to actively do it.
So you basically, just to summarize a little bit of what you just said.
Yeah, I kind of ramble a little bit. My bad.
So you basically, for you to be in a positive mindset, you got to actively change.
Absolutely.
Like yourself from like the environment that you want to be in.
Absolutely.
Because like sometimes even if you listen to motivational speakers, it's just a spark. It's not gonna last that long.
Right.
You can be motivated at that point and think positively, but later on you might, it loses. So you gotta move to a certain places that can, keep that consistently and keep you up to where you wanna be at and stuff like that.
Exactly. That's it, man. That's it.
So like, I know you moved from from the Air Force. Now you a nutritionist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
well, I was always a nutritionist. I was always a nutritionist, and I was always a personal trainer, fitness specialist. I got certified in both genres while I was in the Air Force.
All right,
Air Force paid for all that education, and they, but it was one of those things where, as a registered dietitian, you open up 1,000 more doors because you're actually, it's the top of the career field as a nutritionist.
All right.
You can call yourself a nutritionist, but anyone can call themselves a nutritionist. All it takes is a certification or a little bit of schooling here, but an actual registered dietitian is so much more than that. And
so you're a registered dietitian?
Well, I'm on the way to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm actually check this out. Your boy is going to be. So what's standing in the way of me becoming a dietitian is I have to do a residency, which is like an internship.
Oh, okay.
I'm doing it with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, that's nice.
So shout out Tampa
Bay.
So
you right now currently?
Not yet. I start that in July.
Yeah, best of luck.
Yeah,
that would be really cool.
Yeah. So
hopefully you get a job in there.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Hey, that's what I'm saying.
So that would be like super cool, man.
I know, man. So that's the goal, and that's why I tell people the Air Force is really just the military in general, because I'm gonna draw on that. I'm gonna draw on that. The passion for doing a good job, the attention to detail, exactly. Being excellent in things that you're doing on time. Yes. It's a lot of things that you can't. It's kind of unteachable. When you go to a career field or go to a new job, they don't want to tell you to do these things. And I can kind of draw on that,
especially having the military background.
Exactly,
so you have an upper.
Yeah.
More chance.
Absolutely,
than the regular civilians and stuff.
Yeah. So
I want to know the process on having, you say, to have positive, to get the positive mindset, you got to do it physically.
Mm-hmm.
So like, how does keeping a positive mindset change the outcome of any situation?
That's a good question, man.
Basically, coming from the military to getting out that environment to moving yourself to another environment. Like, how does you keeping a positive mindset change the outcome of your of right now? So
some people will say that all you need to have is a positive mindset and visualize what you want to do, and then it's just going to magically you ever heard of The Secret?
Yeah.
The Secret is similar to that thinking, just visualize it, have a positive mindset, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I'm here to tell you that it's not half wrong.
Yeah.
That now half of it is half of it, I'm not going to say BS, but it kind of gives you a false hope, like all you got to do is that alone, And but what is the Bible? Do you read the Bible?
Yeah.
The Bible says faith without works is dead.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You can believe in it. You can visualize it, but if you don't actually work for it, if you don't do things to manifest your dream or manifest, that positivity in your life, then it's just a dream. A goal without a plan is just a dream. So you gotta have a goal. You gotta plan for it, and you got to work for it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's really what I did. It was like once I decided to say, okay, I'm gonna leave this 65 plus a year job, and which is not bad, and I'm gonna try to do something on my own, and then go to school full time at the same time. So I had to actually plan out. Okay, you know what? I think I'm big enough. I think I have a big enough imprint to start a clothing line. So I actually started a T-shirt business, selling T-shirts,
I saw one of the T-shirt on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Everything is my fault.
Yeah, man.
Is that your shirt?
Actually, that's not my shirt. That's you ever heard this dude named Tom Bilyeu?
Nah.
Tom Bilyeu, that's it. That's it. He's a entrepreneur podcast.
The thing is the day I got in contact with you on Instagram, I just got done finishing a podcast.
Oh yeah.
Our last couple back episode, breaking good and like breaking
Oh,
bad
yeah.
habit and building good habit.
Oh, yeah,
The
okay,
person
okay.
I was interviewing is saying like, in order for you to move on and get where you want to be, you gotta be self-aware of like everything's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
your fault.
Yeah,
If you
that's
don't
real.
think about that, like if you don't accept it, how can you move on
Right.
forward? Like,
And that goes with everything.
Exactly.
If you take that, if
I
you
didn't
take
understand that at first, but
me,
I got it after
bruh,
after the podcast got over.
yeah,
I started understanding
yeah, it's I wish I came up with that shirt,
it.
but no, that's not one of mine though. But yeah, that concept is real, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully Tom Bilyeu hears this. And bro, you made an impression on two young men, man. You made a real big
Yes.
impression, bro. That's yeah, because I actually heard it on his podcast,
All right.
Tom Bilyeu's podcast, and
That's so
it
cool.
was it's a dope concept.
So
But
what
yeah,
type of shirt? Like, what's your clothing line brand called?
so it's called Alpha Omega Athletics,
Okay.
and it. So at the time when I had a lot of clients before I actually left. Being full time in the Air Force, I had like a whole lot of clientele, and that was one of the reasons why I was like, I can just do this full time, so, but a lot of my clients were like, man, we want something to wear to represent, represent the
That's nice.
brand, and I was getting a lot of requests from clients, just asking about, wanting to wear stuff, and so it was just it was born out of that. I mean, it was it was born out of, it's called Alpha Omega Athletics because, in the Bible, and I'm a believer, in the Bible it says, the last shall be first and the first shall be last, and you got to think like in the concept of fitness and the landscape and how it is now, just as society says that you have to look a certain way. You got to look a certain way. You got to lift a certain amount of weights. You have to be like this. You have to look like this, and you're fit. You're fit because you got a six pack, or you're fit because you can lift, however many pounds. And I'm not, I'm not saying that having a six pack is not fit. Not fit or lifting heavy weights or whatever. But the definition of fitness is not outward, but it's inward. You know what I'm saying?
That's deep.
In order to get there, in order to get six pack, you got to do a certain amount of things. That's going to require a lot of inner, grit. You know what I'm saying? And even with having the inner grit and doing everything it takes to get a six pack, some people are not going to get a six pack. You know what I'm saying? So it's not, you shouldn't define fitness by outward, because if you have that fire in you, if you're going to the gym, when you're tired and you get off work and you say, I'm still going to the gym, baby, I'll see you later. I'm going to the gym and get my hour in. That takes work. So like, it's inward,
Yep.
and a lot of guys today, not saying any names, not going to talk any name. I'm not even saying it's a bad thing, but who's more fit? The guy who goes to the gym every day, works out every day, and doesn't have a six pack, and it's not really that strong, but he has, he goes to the gym and he's healthy, his heart is healthy, and he, that guy versus the guy who goes to the gym and he takes steroids. and he has a six pack. He has muscles. He can lift heavy, but inwardly his heart is not that great. His blood work is going to come back all jacked up. There's things that when you take drugs, like it's not good for your body. It's not good for your blood. It's not good for you. So it does certain things over time where you're really not that healthy. So like. I don't know, man. That's why I say, society says that this is the alpha male right here. This guy that looks like this.
Yeah.
But I say that this guy right here, the alpha male is what's on the inside. So the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Hence Alpha Omega. Let's go. Let's go.
So,
man.
Do you have any website where they can if
Yes.
they want to look up those shirts?
Absolutely. www.alphaomegaathletics.com. Same name on Instagram, Alpha Omega Athletics. Same name on Facebook.
So would you say the positive mindset would you like say that keeping a positive mindset is the result of you being where you're at right now today?
Absolutely. And I know you had asked me that question.
Yeah.
That was one of the things. That was one of the I had to devise this plan in order to help me out financially. You know what I'm saying? When I made this move. So that was one of the things that I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I really want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it was more than just thinking about this. It was more than it had to be more than just, you know, having a goal. Okay, you know what? I want to create this. Well, how are you going to do it? Okay, well, let me make this plan to do it. Okay, well, you made the plan. Now what? Now it's time to execute. So, you know, when you execute it and you do all the things, you have a goal, you have a plan, you execute, then it happens. Then whatever happens in the book, The Secret, you know, then it comes to fruition.
Yep.
When you put the work in. Again, faith without works is dead. It's nothing. You know, so you have to work towards that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know.
So my next question, we've been talking about a lot of personal, like
Mm-hmm.
the way you keep yourself, how you did this, and how you keep your positive mindset. Like, give me some good advice, like you could tell someone right now, if they listen to the podcast right now, you know, what would you tell someone that's in a negative environment, but yet trying to keep a positive mindset? I know it's going to be hard for them because sometimes we get affected by what's around us.
Mm-hmm.
So what could you tell someone right now that's, you know, he's in a negative environment, but he trying to keep a positive mindset because he trying to get out that negative mindset. Because sometimes when you keep a positive mindset in a negative environment, with that mindset, it can push you outward and put you in a positive environment.
That's true.
Because
That's true.
what you think and what you put out there in the world is what the world give you back.
Exactly.
Because even if you're in a
That's
negative mindset, having a even if you are in a negative environment, having a positive mindset can put you in a positive environment.
Facts.
So I want to hear your output on that. What would you tell someone that's in a negative environment and that's trying to keep a positive mindset?
I would tell them, I would start by saying this: if you do what's easy, your life will be hard.
Oh man, that's.
But if you do what's hard, your life will be easy.
Exactly.
You know, and a lot of times, man, we fall into this this merry-go-round, man, of doing the same thing, you know, every day, and you get up and you know you're in this state and you stay in that state because you know it's hard, man. It's hard to come out of that place, man. It's hard to stop yourself and get out of that loop, that negative loop. It's hard, man. It takes work. It takes, you know, you have to actually, you know, do something to get out of there, you know, and it's uncomfortable, you know, and a lot of people will just settle for that. They'll just settle and they'll stay there because they don't want to do the work, you know. So do the work, you know, change your life by actually doing it, getting up and doing something, you know, whatever it may be. Change your environment in a way where it's something different, you know. Like if you see the same thing every day you see the same thing, every day you do the same thing, you know, it's like you become a zombie, you know, to life, you know, and so that's why, and that was something that I had to do. I was in Montgomery, Alabama, you know, and you know, living in Montgomery, you know, stationed there, and I just had to, you know, I always loved Florida, man, and that was actually, Florida was actually where my girl was.
All right.
And I was like, you know what, this is gonna take I had a house, really nice house, and you know, I'm like, I got a mortgage. I don't know how I'm gonna get rid of this mortgage, but I thought about it. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and if I gotta pay 2 mortgages, I'm just gonna have to pay 2 mortgages somehow, but I'm gonna do it. And just how life worked out, where someone came down and was like, hey man, I want to rent this house. The first person who saw the house wanted to rent it, and nice. it just worked out that way because, you know, I had that mind. If you have a mindset where this is real, listen to this. If you have a mindset where you're gonna do it, whatever it is you want to do, you're gonna do it no matter what. When you think about that, when you have that, it's all or nothing. I'm either going to do this or I'm going to die trying. When you think that way, it's like something happens, man. I don't know, and that's where I can't really explain. I really can't explain it. It's like when you have that attitude where, like, Will Smith said it. He was like, I don't know if you heard this. He said, I'm going to, I can't remember the exact phrase, but he said that I'm going to do this or I'm going to die trying to do it. In those terms. But I mean, you have to actually be willing to just go for broke. And that's where I was. At that point, I was there. I was like, yo, I'm going to do this. I don't really know if this is going to work out. I'm going to do the clothing line. I don't know if it's going to really work out. I'm going to maximize my business and do my business, nutrition coaching business full time. I don't know if it's going to work out. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to pack all my stuff up out of this house, move it to Florida. I don't know if I'm going to get somebody to rent it out. It don't matter. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to go down there and try to win my girl back. I don't know if it's going to work out. I'm going to do it anyway. And you know what? When having that mindset, all four of those things and more, it worked out. You know what I'm saying? So, like, and it's still working out, and you just have to do something. You have to make yourself uncomfortable, change your surroundings, and actually do the hard thing. Do what's hard. Your life will be easy.
I know a lot of people, they say, yeah, if you can do that, like, can you tell some, like, did you just, like, say, oh, yeah, you just take a big risk, or did you, like, plan things out in a way that you're gonna, like, some people don't like to, like, jump into things without planning.
Yeah, without having
so did you plan those type of, ideas before you went through them, or you just throw yourself at them?
I mean, there is an element of, like, planning. Of course, yeah. I definitely, I saved like a madman, for about a good probably 6 months. I didn't, and that's not really even a long span of time, but that's for those 6 months, I was kind of going back and forth. I saved saved everything, man, and so I had a little safety net just in case things didn't really work out, like, things didn't really take off, or, my clients dropped, or because I was going from training a lot of my clients hands-on to just making their programs and sending it to them. So I didn't really know how that was going to work out. But everything, everything worked out, but there is an element of planning and having a plan. You got to have a plan, or it's just a wish,
Yep.
You can have a goal. Like I said, you can have a goal, but if you don't really plan for it, it's just a dream, just a wish.
A lot of people would say, I want to do this, I want to do that, but some of the thing that I see the most around people that motivate other people when they put out content is just they tell you a lot of positive things that make you want to do stuff, but I feel like sometimes they be missing the insight things, like what you got to do, the plan wise. They just tell you how to do it, but they don't tell you how to plan it.
Yeah, true.
So that's the main thing, and that causes a lot of people to jump at things just because they hear he say or she say about this.
That's real.
And they just jump into it. Next thing you know, they fail, and next thing you know, they change their mindset from positive to negative.
Yeah, that's real. So I did have, like, if all else fails, there's always a way that I could get my old job back. There's always a way, and that played a part, just being a good, working good, what I'm saying, having good work ethic, having knowing that you've done a good enough job that if you ever needed your job back, you could go back and get it, so, like, I would tell everybody that just goes into having good work ethic, man. And if there is a situation where you're working in a job and you don't like it, but it has so much security that maybe you need to go back to it at some point, hey, that's that having good work ethic and really having that impression on your employers, that helps out a lot. Because I had when I left, man, my boss, she cried. She was like, dude, I don't want to let you go, but I know this is something that you have to do, so, like, and that was one of the issues. assurance
That's how
that she
you
gave
can
me.
tell that you had such a positive aspect
No, yeah,
on the job that you were
yeah,
doing
yeah,
and the
sure.
people that you were
Yeah,
working with.
yeah.
So you
Absolutely.
actually made her job easier because you was working
Absolutely, I
with them.
did. Yeah, for sure.
That's
And I
good.
was and she wanted me to take this position, and um, so I had an old boss that was really really good. And he trained me really well, but he left,
Okay.
and it was like a hole at the top, and she wanted me to take it, and I just knew if I took it, I would be stuck, forever.
So you had to make a big decision.
Yeah, he was huge,
That's
man. It was a big decision, man. It was
That's
a big.
huge.
I turned down a pay raise. I turned down a lot, to do what I'm doing. And who's to say that stuff don't work, or who's to say that I could graduate and work with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and be like, okay, see you later, man. Have a nice life, or something.
So
You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know the
with
future.
that, with that, like, with your experience on how you like the things that you had to go through, how many things that like you had to turn down, I can tell you very passionate with what you want to do with it.
For sure.
And I think like Buccaneers, like if you do good, they probably will hire you, man.
Man, absolutely.
Like,
They have a really good the sports dietitian that they have now. He's dope, man. He's really really knowledgeable. But I mean, even if I'm not really even looking to get hired there, I just want the experience. I want to be able to put it on my resume, and I want to be able to use, I want to be able to have, this, his name is Kevin Lur. Mr.
Right.
Kevin Lur, if you ever hear this, I'm your biggest fan. Hopefully we get to work together, and your recommendation would mean a lot on my resume. I'm not trying to take his job, though. I'm not trying to take his job. If they ever created a second position, though, hey, I'm your man. But yeah, that's really, just the experience to work with, football players and, work with Jameis Winston, you know what I'm saying? All those other guys, that would be awesome. That's what I would love to do. So we'll see.
That's dope.
It's looking good. It's looking real good. Hopefully everything works out, and I'll be down there in Tampa working with those guys.
So you basically to summarize things is basically for you to get out a negative environment and to be and trying to keep a positive mindset and to put yourself in a positive environment, you got to have that work ethic.
Absolutely.
You got to keep pushing and believing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully by working and stay consistent with yourself and what you do, and that will place you in the right position that you want to be in.
Huge. You said one word.
Positive.
You said one word: consistent.
Yeah.
Staying consistent, man. That's huge. Like that consistency that's something that I preach to my clients. That's something that I preach to, talking with students and stuff like that. Being consistent.
Yeah, that's huge.
That being, not allowing the life to like the things of life to like get you down to a point where you don't believe in yourself anymore, or if something happens that doesn't go your way. Or
one thing that I hear is a lot in athletes, because I watch sports a lot. Which what's the dude that coach the Duke coach
a Duke coach? Oh, yeah. Mike K.
Yeah, Coach K.
Yeah.
And LeBron, Kobe, especially Kobe. A lot of time when they ask their teammate what they do and how, like, what would you like see how they do their things, they say, man, they consistent. Yep. They come in, they work every day to do the same thing and keep pushing at it
every day.
That's the number one thing I hear. They consistent. Just keep doing it and believe in yourself and stay patient, and everything will go like where they will like.
It's huge.
Be at.
That's it, man. That is major key, like DJ Khaled said.
Yeah,
major key right there, man.
So my next question, I know you in the health field and stuff. How can like staying positive, like having a positive mindset can affect someone health and body? Like how can having a positive mindset do that?
I would say that again, just kind of relying on my experiences, I wasn't always in the fitness. Years ago, probably like in 2008, I was like 25, 26, no 24. 24, 25. But I had just got out of this relationship, and I was always in sports. You know, I was always in sports. Played football in high school. Was, you know, really athletic when I joined the Air Force initially, but I kind of let myself go, and it was an element of depression for sure. You know, where I broke up with this girl, and I thought she was the one, and she wasn't, and it got to the point where I remember I woke up and I looked in the mirror one day. It's just one random day, and I just was like, man, dang, I didn't let myself go. You know, I felt, and it was one of those things that just kind of, it allowed me to, to formulate a plan to get back to where I was and even further. So like I just had to. I was in that a negative space, a really negative space, and I had to transition myself to think positive, to think, okay, you know what? Now I'm freaking 35 pounds overweight, and I'm failing the PT test, or I'm almost failing the PT test. I never actually failed, and I just had to, I changed things around where, like, I had to stay in that mindset. Okay, I'm going to do this. I had a picture of Terrell Owens.
Yeah.
Terrell Owens. If you hear this podcast, bro, your abs inspire me, man. Because like I had a picture of him. I remember I was in Iraq. I got deployed to Baghdad. Shout out Baghdad, Iraq. And back in 2008, 2009.
How was that like?
Oof, sucked.
Oh man,
sucked.
I know it was pretty dusty over
there.
Yeah,
it was very dusty. Very desert. You know what? So I've been to Iraq and Afghanistan. A little caveat here. And Iraq is 10 times better than Afghanistan. Just because the people are, I don't know if I want to say it. So like Afghanistan is just so rural, and the way of life that the people live and their thinking is just, it's not
broad. Not
necessarily broad, but it's not. It's just not up to date. It's just like they live without electricity. They they sleep on top of in the summer. They sleep on top of their houses because it's cooler. They just they're
more into the natural way.
They're super tribal.
Okay.
Where Iraq, they're you can hold a conversation with one of them. You can talk to them and they understand the Western. I guess Afghanistan is just way less westernized than Iraq is, which I don't know. For someone listening to this who's Afghanistan, I'm not at all talking about your culture or anything like that. Actually, Afghanistan is very beautiful. The mountain, it's a lot of mountains and. But it's just my experiences there in Iraq. It was better.
I think
than
it's just basically they're more naturally they stay in a certain environment that's more connected to natural resources.
Sure,
and stuff.
Yeah.
And what you say, Iraq is more westernized.
Yeah. Very.
I guess
much
coming
more,
from here, from the United States, you can
find
a more relatable way to relate to those people
Absolutely.
much better. Because sometimes when you go to places that that's do a certain thing, you can't relate. So you probably be more comfortable.
Yeah. That's true.
That's human nature.
It's
so
human nature.
You
for
can't
sure.
find it.
Yeah.
So.
But Iraq sucked though. I mean, just being deployed there and everything that was going on back then, it wasn't fun.
It wasn't fun.
Yeah. But there though, it was a lot of time for me to work out, and I had a picture of T.O. in the tent, and I used to look at T.O. and be like, yo, man, I want to look just like this dude, and I my workouts were, I just thought to myself, I want to look like this. And like, man, I was there for like 6.5 months. Came back, I stayed on it, and like from 2009ish to about 2012, 2011ish, 2 years of me staying on it, working out intensely. I look like T.O. You know what I'm saying? I remember, and of course I didn't keep his picture. I didn't look at his picture every day for 2 years, but I mean, I remember when I started looking like something, looking like I started getting my abs, and I'm like, man, I remember looking, I was like, I kind of do look like T.O. now. And it was kind of came full circle, like, man, that's what I wanted. I visualized it. I had a plan of action. I stayed positive the whole time, and like, man, look at me now. So like, that's all it takes, man. It takes just having a vision of what you want to look like, of the goals that you want to accomplish within yourself. Whether it be, I want to improve my blood work. I want to, my lipids are high. I want to get my lipids down. I'm diabetic. I'm type 2 diabetic. I want to stop taking, insulin shots. Stuff like that. Having a vision, formulating the plan of action, and executing. Yeah.
So my last question would be, I know we've been talking about positive mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me the top 3 things that someone should do to make positive mindset a habit?
Top 3 things.
I know we talk about a lot about positive mindset.
Yeah.
But just the top 3 keys of things that you think, oh yeah, I should do this and this and this.
Just to have
positive mindset a habit.
First of all, I would say, I mean, it's kind of sound a little redundant, but I would say first you have to know, what? Here's what you need to do first. In order for anything else to move forward, you got to know why you want to do it. So I know you've heard before, like, what's your why?
Yeah.
You got to know, you got to have something that's like going to keep moving the needle even when you're out of gas. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there are going to come times when, like, you're like, damn, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
And you still gotta push. You gotta think about why you're doing it. So have a why, have a reason that's strong enough to push you, to keep pushing you, to keep moving that needle even when you're tired, even when you don't feel like it. Have a strong why. I would say number two, man. Hey, we talked about this consistency, man.
Yeah.
You get into it, and you have to stay consistent, man. You got to stay consistent with bro. If I had $1 for every client that I've gotten that quits, I would be rich, man. For every client that does really well and makes a good transformation, there's a guy that they just don't push past that limit.
That's the number one thing I would say that separate the people that are successful.
Yeah.
And the people that are not consistent.
Yeah.
That's the number
huge.
one thing.
It's huge, man. It's huge, bro.
And every day I push myself to stay consistent. That's the number one thing that I'm working on, and getting better at. Stay consistent.
It's hard.
Yeah,
bro. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's tough, man.
But if you try every day,
it's not easy.
That, achieve that type of level of mindset. You got it.
And it's all here, bro. Like when I program out a nutrition plan for somebody, and I have the macros laid out, I have all this stuff laid out, and I give it to them on a silver platter, it's not necessarily the going out and the getting the food and the going to the gym. All that stuff is easy. Going to the gym, making some food, it's easy. What's hard is conditioning your mindset. Like to stay, to say, you know what, I want this,
That's
and I
tough.
want this bad enough
Yeah.
to push past my reservations and my fatigue. So consistency.
I can tell anybody right now, like, the only thing that's keeping you from getting where you want to be and what you want to do is your mindset.
That's it. That's it, man.
It sounds easy, but it's hard.
Yeah.
You can say it's my mindset, but yeah.
Easier said than done, for sure. I mean, even with me, man.
Just like we talk in episode, our 5th episode, Breaking Bad Habit and Building Good Habit. That's the key. So what would you say your third
number
thing?
three. Man, I gotta say, we've talked about this before too. So we said consistency,
your why,
having a why, your consistency, and And the third thing, man, I would have to say is just doing the work. Just doing the work. And I think that's separate from consistency, because maybe consistency should be number 3. Because I think just do it. Just jump. Just have that, it sounds cliche, but like, man, just jump off the roof, man. Just jump off the cliff. Just go, man. Like, if you think about something so long and you try to plan it out, and you say that you go the cons and the pros and cons, you can do that long enough where you just psych yourself out and you don't, just do it. It's gotta come to a point where you've planned enough, you've thought about it enough, you got your a strong why you want to do it. No more amount of planning is going to help. It takes courage, and it takes
exactly.
It takes courage, and it takes you being willing to be very uncomfortable.
Yep.
And those people who are comfortable being very uncomfortable, those people are the ones who are successful. Exactly. So like, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. You have to be willing to just jump. And you know what? Maybe not have a safety net down there. Maybe there are times when hey, and you said it before. There, like, how people say, just jump off the roof, and then they jump, and like, oh shit, oh crap, But I mean, hey, at sometimes, you know what? That's what it takes. That's it takes. It takes you being willing to go to a place where you don't really know if like I was saying, like, you don't really know if this is going to work out or not. But
I'll
you
just say, like, people, like, if you're in that situation and you, like, sometime, like you said, it got to take really, like, to go someplace that you don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
Just go with the open-minded that you're going to be able to accept the outcome, even if it's good or bad.
Exactly.
Like, keep your mindset, like, whatever happened, I'm going to be happy with it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want you to go out there thinking that, oh yeah, it's always going to be good. Because when the bad happen, when you always think good is going to happen, it hits you the worst way.
Right, exactly.
And it will crumble you down.
Right.
If you don't have that positive, that open mindset and going toward that thing that you're going for.
Right, because, and that's good, man. That's real good right there. That's real good. That's real good. That you perfectly said what I don't think I really said it as well as you said it. You got to be willing to deal with good or bad.
Yeah.
If it's bad, okay, here's another plan for it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to,
exactly.
But you got to be willing to take that risk.
Yep.
Everything has a risk associated with it, and you got to be willing.
And that's life.
Yep, that's it.
But before we wrap up this episode, I do a segment called Something Interesting. Something interesting could be anything that I find on the internet. It could be a question that's asked by one of a listener, or it could be something that someone told me, and I think it would be a great question for the segment. So this week's Something Interesting is a pretty interesting story, and it's related to the topic of this episode. So the story is, like, one day a professor entered a classroom and announced a surprise test, right? Hearing this, all the students got anxious and started thinking about what would come up in the test. So the professor distributed the question paper in front, with the front side facing down. After handing over the paper to all the students, he asked them to turn the page around and start the test. So everyone was surprised. There were no questions on the test paper, right? So, but there was a black dot in the center of the paper. Everyone startled and looked at the professor in awe. The professor told the student, "I want you to write a few lines about what you see on that paper." So all the students were stupefied, and since they didn't have a choice, they just started to write the answers on what the professor asked them to do, to write what they see on that paper. So once everyone was through with the test, the professor collected all the answer sheet and started reading out each answer out loud in front of the whole class. Without any expectation, all the students have written about the block that was mentioned, like that was in the paper, the position, the size, and anything else, etc. After reading all the answers, the professor addressed the student and told them, "None of you will," like the professor told to the student, "None of you will be graded on this test. I just wanted you to ponder over something. And all of you wrote about the black dot. No one wrote about the white part of the paper. The same thing happening in our lives too. We all have white paper to observe and learn from. Yet we always focus on the dark spot. We have so many reasons to celebrate our parents, our coworker, our friends, our good health, a satisfactory job, a child's smile, the miracle we witness every day, and so on. However, we simply limit our horizon by focusing just on the dark spot. Our disappointment, our frustration, our fears, our anxiety, things that bother us, people that wrong us, etc. In our day-to-day life, we tend to take many good things for granted and focus on our energy on insignificant dot, like failure and disappointment.
It's huge.
Yeah, so the thought these dark spots are quite small as to compare to good things that we have in our life. Yet they perturb our mind and do not let us think positively. Say, take your eyes away from the black dots in your life and try to focus on the brighter side of life, and let positivity govern your thoughts. And the title of that story was The Black Dot.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I like that, man.
So what do you think about that? That's major.
Ooh, man, you know what? I wish I could have included this subject a little sooner in the talk, because it means everything.
Yeah.
And that's gratitude. Being grateful for the things in your life. Because that right there, when you're able to be grateful no matter what, that right there is a way to transform your mindset, from negative to positive. Because there's so many things that you think about, that we take for granted. Yep. It really is, man. And that was one of the things, even in my life, I had to reassess. Like, I've always, I've pretty much always been like healthy and strong, in good shape. And I've recently had a scare, man, where I had some type of bronchial infection going on, but at the time I didn't know what it was, and it was just, I remember having I had to sit back and just, I thought about it. I thought about how like easy it came, and how like, there's a lot of people that aren't in that position, that do have something serious going on with their health, or that they wish they could be, in a position to be able to do the things that I've done, that I've
Exactly.
been able to do. So, that's huge, man. That's huge.
It's major.
Is being grateful for everything, your family, your job, even your current situation. Being in a situation that's not ideal, there's still an element of being grateful, and being thankful, for that.
Exactly. So overall, I would say, as the title was, a positive mindset for an easier life. So having a positive mindset can definitely make your life a little bit more easier. Even though you say work harder so life can be easier, take easy work and life would be harder.
Right.
So having that positive mindset by working hard can make your life easy. You see how I did?
That's right. I like that.
Having a positive mindset by working hard can make your life easier.
I like it.
So I like to thank Trey for coming to the podcast, man. I appreciate all the thoughts that you share with us.
That's
and
dope.
Hopefully that the people that are listening can take that and apply that to their life.
Most definitely, man.
So my last word would say, think positive, stay positive, and grow positive. And we out.
I love it. Peace.